So another activity that helps is echo reading. And so
Right, I'm going to do an echo reading intervention, and it's a fluency speed intervention, and I'm here with Cole. And Cole, you're going into
second grade.
Second grade. All right. So our passage is called Colors of the Rainbow, and I'm going to read a sentence, and then you read the same sentence. Okay?
Okay.
I decided my favorite color is the rainbow. You can read the same sentence I did. We're going to echo it.
I decided my favorite color is the rainbow.
It has all the colors in it: red, yellow, blue, green, and purple.
It has all the colors in it: red, yellow, blue, green, and purple. They are all.
You can stop right at the end of that. They are all my favorite colors.
They are all my favorite colors.
How could I ever choose just one?
How could I ever choose just one?
And that is echo reading.
So another method that helps to improve fluency is called the NIM method, which stands for the Neurological Impress Method. It's very similar to choral reading. However, in this method, the EA would read just slightly ahead of the student, modeling the fluency and phrasing. However, the EA is going to make sure to track the text for the student. With really small children, this might be hand over hand tracking with them. For older students, it might be you just tracking. And then as the student gets more confident, the EA would start to read more quietly, letting the student take over. So here are a couple of videos to demonstrate that.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer Shettle, and today I'm going to model the Neurological Impress Method, also called NIM or NIM as an abbreviation. The Neurological Impress Method is a research-based method for improving fluency in students who are dysfluent. So I have my friend Lucy here with me today, and we are going to show you what the neurological impress method might look like. It looks a little bit like partner reading and a little bit like choral reading in that we are going to actually be reading a page in this book together. So when you use neurological impress method, you want to either allow the student to select a book that they're currently reading or that they're working on reading, or you can pre-select the reading material. To start out, you might want to choose reading material that is at the student's independent level, and then as the student understands how this method is going to be used, you could increase that level to more of the instructional level. So we are going to read again together a page from this book that Lucy has chosen. It's called McGraw, It's a Dog's Life. And we're going to read this page. All right, so in neurological impress, you want to sit right beside the student who you're tutoring. And because this would be for students who would be having fluency problems, you would probably want to track the words with either your finger or some sort of tracking device. Lucy is not dysfluent, but she is showing us how this would look. So I'm going to show you what it would look like if we were going to just kind of track this with a pencil or pencil eraser. All right, so in neurological impress, the proficient reader, the fluent reader, takes the lead and kind of guides the non-proficient or non-fluent reader through the passage. And the idea is that they read it together without any stopping or correcting or backtracking or anything like that. They're just reading it together and trying to make it sound as natural as possible. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start here?
Yeah.
All right, ready? Like Batman and Superman before him, McGraw would keep his extraordinary abilities under wraps. Only the forces of evil he combated so courageously would ever come to know the special powers he possessed. Thomas finished searching under the crawl space beneath the garage and forlornly surveyed the empty yard. The boy was frantic. The dog wasn't on the roof, or up a tree, or in any of his other favorite hiding places. Thomas dashed across the street and went straight to Violet's house. She would know what to do. A minute later, Thomas and his best and only friend were combing the neighborhood. Has he ever done this before? Violet inquired. Thomas thought for a moment. Not really. Violet did her best to put a positive spin on things. Well, let's not jump to any hasty conclusions. All right, and you might have noticed that as we read, I tried to make my voice a little bit quieter so that Lucy's voice was taking the lead. When I sensed that she was having some maybe decoding problems or getting stuck on a spot, then I raised my voice and jumped back in. So that is the neurological impress method.
So with this neurological impress method, there's also a short video I'd like to show where it has a student who is older, because you might think, oh, I can't really do that. But actually this would be something that would be beneficial for older readers as well.
As we demonstrate the method, please note several things. One is that the material chosen, in this case, the Hunger Games, is 2 to 3 grade levels beneath the student's actual level, which in this case is not perfectly accurate, but for purposes of demonstration. Another is that as I read, my fingers move smoothly beneath the words I'm reading and speaking, so that my finger, my reading, and my speech are all synchronized. Another is that my reading will be just a bit faster than the student's and at a pace just beyond which he may be comfortable with at first. Also notice that at some point during the demonstration, I increase my reading. The idea here is to gently push the struggling reader to read at ever increasing reading speeds, and this should be done for a few minutes at a time during each session. Finally, note that although I am the lead reader and my finger is following the words, the student can take over these tasks, when it's felt that time it's appropriate to do that. But this would typically occur after some of the initial sessions. All right, so we're going to demonstrate that now. Okay. When I wake up, the other side of the bed is cold. My fingers stretch out, seeking Prim's warmth, but finding only the rough canvas cover of the mattress. She must have had bad dreams and climbed in with our mother. Of course she did. This was the day of the reaping. I prop myself up on one elbow. There's enough light in the bedroom to see them. My little sister Prim, curled up on her side, cocooned in her mother's body, their cheeks pressed together. In sleep, my mother looks younger, still worn but not so beaten down. Prim's face is as fresh as a raindrop, as lovely as the primrose for which she was named. My mother was very beautiful once too, or so they tell me. Sitting at Prim's knees, guarding her, is the world's ugliest cat. Mashed-in nose, half of one ear missing, eyes the color of rotting squash. Prim named him Buttercup, insisting that his muddy yellow coat matched the bright flower. He hates me, or at least distrusts me. Even though it was years ago, I think he still remembers how I tried to drown him in a bucket when Prim brought him home.
So just one thing to note with this last video, he mentions at the beginning about how the text was 2 to 3 grade levels below the reading level. And I think what he means there is 2 to 3 levels, not grades. So 2 to 3 levels, because independent reading text is usually 2 grade levels below. And so that would kind of be in that independent reading level range. So another thing that is helpful is to teach kids how to do phrasing and how to do expressions. So with phrasing, you can take text and show them how to mark what would be a phrase. And so when we say phrase, It's those groups of words that go together in like one speaking point. So you would say, she will swim on the ship. Or in this example here, the number of bees in the wild have been dropping for a decade. So that kids understand, instead of reading the numbers of bees in the wild. So that phrasing is 1 or 2 word phrasing, and we want them to be in the 3 to 4 word phrasing to be fluent. Another important thing would be to teach punctuation. So what does a period mean? You stop, you make a full stop and you stop reading. A comma means that you would pause or slow down. A question mark means that you raise the tone of your voice. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Exclamation mark means that you read with some sort of emphasis or excitement. Bold print or italics might mean that you read louder. So some things that are really helpful for practicing fluency. Poetry is especially powerful for this, and there's tons of examples for kids. It doesn't have to be rhyming. This example happens to rhyme, but it'd be perfect for marking the text for some phrasing. Like, for example, you might say most perfect contraption, and then put a tick just in the middle of this line so that kids would know that would be their stopping point. They could do this in partners. They could do it with you. For older readers, there's lots of books out now that are called verse fiction. And basically what they are novels with plot and characters and events, but they're written in verse, and so like poetry. So one really great book for boys, written by Kwame Alexander, is called The Crossover. He's also got another one called Booked, and these ones are about basketball, so kids love them. So this example is, it's called Josh Bell. Josh Bell is my name, but Filthy McNasty is my claim to fame. Folks call me that because my game's acclaimed. So downright dirty, it'll put you to shame. My hair is long, my height's tall. See, I'm the next Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Chris Paul. And so there's tons of examples in this book that kids could practice reading fluency. Sorry, there's tons of examples in this book where kids could practice reading fluently. Again, for junior high or for high school, something that's really powerful is teaching them about Greek and Latin roots. Now, you might think this is not really something that would make an impact, but it really does. If kids understand that the root hydra means water, when they're coming to words that have that root in it, that prefix or that suffix, they are going to make a connection and really understand. So when we have hydroplane, for example, they're going to understand that that has something to do with water, plane, flying. So that example of like hydroplaning in a car when it's when they're driving super fast over some water. If you're dehydrated, if you know that hydro means water, you're going to know, if you know de means to take out, you're going to know that dehydrated means that the water's been taken out of you or you're missing water. So to recap some of the important ideas, reading all the time is super important. Modeling for kids through read alouds and making sure that kids are reading at an independent level, and rereading, practicing things like poetry or reading verse fiction out loud. All of that kind of activities will help to improve fluency, and as well to make the decoding happen faster, working on building up those sight words or the automaticity of clusters, and again, increasing kids' vocabulary so that they understand what words mean, and so they're able to read them faster because they know what the meaning is.